But listen, Miss Pugh, don't speak over me. Miss Pugh, just because you say respectfully does not mean that you get to interrupt me. That's disrespectful, right? Hang on. Listen, Miss Pugh, stop talking over me. If you want to stop talking over me.
Where is the verified claim that is being placed against my trust?
You can go back with the bailiff. Go back with the bailiff. Get your own attorney or represent yourself if you don't like it.
All right. Today, we have a strict judge and a sovereign citizen who's completely out of their depth. This girl walked in with a tiny piece of paper, filled with the usual sovereign citizen nonsense, thinking she could drop some so-called legal bombshells and walk out without consequences. But, as expected, reality had other plans.
Are you Janetta Pugh?
I am the beneficiary of that estate.
You're the what?
I am the beneficiary of that estate.
You're the beneficiary of what estate? Answer my questions, please, ma'am. I'm just trying to understand. Okay.
For the record, I recognize Ms. Pugh. She's been here before.
I do as well, for the record.
And I looked into Mr. Christopher Wiley. I can't find that person as a practicing lawyer in the state bar page, and I have not been contacted by anybody on Ms. Pugh's behalf.
All right, so Ms. Pugh, Mr. Lewis has been appointed to represent you at this point. Obviously, you know as well as anyone that you're in custody and we want to get your case taken care of. If you've hired or your family has hired another lawyer, then they have to contact the court so that we can do something with your case. And do you know if they've hired someone?
Respectfully, Your Honor, I do not agree with your appointed foreign agents, considering that the first duty is to the state and will be considered conflict of interest. Your Honor.
Okay, so if you don't want, the only thing I can do, I'm appointing an attorney to you to help you, right? So if you don't want a court-appointed attorney, then your only option, two things. One is to represent yourself or to hire a lawyer. So if you don't like the way it works, then you do something different. So are you, listen to what I'm saying. Are you either going to represent yourself? Or are you going to let Mr. Lewis represent you? Or are you going to hire someone?
Objection, Your Honor. Respectfully, is this a court of record?
It is a court of record. So your objection's overruled.
Okay. Respectfully, Your Honor, where is the verified claim that is being placed against my trust?
It's right here. It's called an indictment. And Mr. Lewis has a copy of it and he can show it to you. So that would be the verified claim against you.
Okay. Your Honor, respectfully, Your Honor, there were writs that was filed to the case that still haven't been received.
I've received your petition for writ of habeas corpus and it's denied.
Okay. Respectfully, Your Honor, I demand to be released due to lack of evidence of stated claim and not being given the proper opportunity to obtain proper counsel to effective defense.
It's overruled.
Okay.
You're running out, aren't you?
No, it's fine.
No, this is absolutely not fine. You're making a complete fool of yourself right now. The judge is just sitting there patiently, waiting for this girl to run out of steam with her ridiculous sovereign citizen script. It's honestly hilarious because these people always think they've discovered some hidden legal loophole, but the law simply doesn't work that way. Courts have repeatedly ruled that just saying, "I do not consent," doesn't magically erase charges. That's not how jurisdiction works. What surprises me is how she even got to this point. She actually seems polite, addressing the judge as Your Honor, but it's clear she's grasping at straws here. I can't wrap my head around how someone falls this deep into the sovereign citizen rabbit hole. Reading about it is one thing, but actually standing in court and trying to use it, that's next level delusion.
So here's the thing, Miss Pugh. I appreciate your position, but listen, Miss Pugh, don't speak over me.
Respectfully, Your Honor, for my incarceration.
Miss Pugh, just because you say respectfully does not mean that you get to interrupt me. That's disrespectful, right? Hang on, listen to me. Everything you have there is overruled. And here's one of the reasons why, is because you have a lawyer. and your lawyer will file the appropriate motion. You're interrupting me again, which is disrespectful. So I'm going to leave Mr. Lewis as your attorney unless you choose to represent yourself or hire someone else. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to determine what you're going to do. You can go back. You can go back with the bailiff.
I do not agree or comply to your appointed.
Go back.
Agents.
You already said that, and that's overruled.
Is to the state.
Go back with the bailiff. Get your own attorney or represent yourself if you don't like it.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. But wait, it's not over yet. This sovereign citizen actually came back for another hearing at a later date. And don't worry, I got you covered on that one too at this point. I feel like the judge deserves an award for patience. Arguing with a sovereign citizen is like talking to a brick wall, except the brick wall thinks it's a constitutional expert. Big respect to the judge for staying calm. She's being firm but also surprisingly patient, which I guess is fair. What do you guys think of the judge so far? Personally, I think she's handling this really well. Now, let's move on and see if things get even more heated in the next hearing.
Perfect. So, Ms. Pugh, Mr. Jeffries has been appointed to represent you. He's just been given, he's trying to get caught up real quickly on all the information and the discovery in your case. I'm going to reset your case so that he can get all of that. Once he gets it, he'll be out there to go over it with you, and we'll see if we can get an announcement at the next court date.
Respectfully, Your Honor, I do not agree to comply with any of the appointed court agents, considering that their first duty is to the state.
I understand. We've had this conversation before.
And for your record, I'll be representing myself.
So if you want to represent yourself, there's some things. Ms. Pugh, stop talking over me. If you want to stop talking over me. If you want to represent yourself, then there is a process that we have to go through, and we'll do that today if that's what you want to do. We'll get your case set for trial and we'll go forward that way. It is highly inadvisable for you to represent yourself. Lawyers have many, many years of training. They understand the law. They understand how a trial works, because here's what happens. When you're in a trial and you represent yourself, you're expected to know and follow all of the rules of evidence, all the rules of procedure. And so you're really at a disadvantage if you don't know those things. And so you have to do everything just like the assistant district attorney would. And if you don't, you're going to be in front of a jury and it's going to show, and it's just not going to be, it usually does not work out in your benefit. But I have to go through with you some questions first before we do that. And then if you still want to do that, then there's a couple of things couple of options, and we'll go over those as well. Okay. So I am supposed to ask you, I'm going to go through these questions. I need you to answer them if you want to represent yourself, because this is required. All right. So have you ever studied the law? Okay. Have you ever represented yourself before in any kind of criminal matter? Okay. Do you understand the charges against you?
I know been accused of.
Okay. And so do you know, and we've gone over before, I think, what the range of punishment is if you're found guilty on a jury? Do you know what that is? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me pull you up here. We'll go over that again as well. The date of that allegations from June 22nd of 2021. And what that means is if you're found guilty, that the range of punishment that the jury could give you is between 2 years as a minimum punishment up to 10 years in prison, anywhere in between. Do you understand? And you answer out loud just for the record.
Do I understand? No, I don't understand.
What do you not understand about that?
I swear, I knew she was going to say that. At this point, I've broken down so many sovereign citizen cases that I can literally predict what they're going to say next. Watching these people is like losing brain cells in real time. Honestly, it's kind of sad. Some of these people may have underlying mental health struggles, but on top of that, they're just wasting public resources. Courts and law enforcement have limited time and money, and these cases drain both for absolutely no reason. One thing I did notice. This time, she didn't bring her little script from the first clip. Maybe her time in county jail helped her memorize it instead, but if she decides to represent